The annual Apple iPhone event is just a few days away, taking place on the 9th of September. And today I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about the iPhone 16 Pro. Okay, so let's start with the obvious upgrades that the iPhone gets pretty much every year, and that being the chip. With the 16 Pro, the chip will be upgraded to the A18 Pro. By the way, is it only me, or should Apple change this naming scheme to match the number of the iPhone, instead of being 2 ahead and then being a little bit confusing for new customers? Anyways, this chip should be based on a 3nm architecture, and as always, it should be a little bit more efficient and more powerful, which won't probably impact battery life that much because every time Apple adds some new features, that pretty much counterbalances all of the efficiency gains that you get from the chip itself. This year, the chip is going to be a little bit more important than all of the previous years, well, outside of the 15 Pro, because the A18 Pro and the A17 Pro that came before it are going to have access to Apple Intelligence. And I just think Apple is going to do something this year, something that just Apple does, you know? Just add some exclusive features that could be possible in theory with the previous chips, but they are going to say that they are only possible with the A18 Pro. So it's going to be exclusive to the 16 Pro phones. And I mainly thought about this because the whole promotion and the whole image that Apple actually shared on social media and on their site is kind of based around the idea of Apple Intelligence, Siri, and all of this stuff. And they wouldn't probably concentrate at this thing that much if they wouldn't bring some exclusive features to the 16 Pro too. Then the battery should get two important upgrades. First and foremost, it's just the size increase that the Pros will get, which the 16 Pro will really benefit from because it's quite a big jump, especially in iPhone terms. And the second upgrade is actually going to be something that Android phones have had for years now, because it's rumored that Apple should now split the battery in half and stack them upon each other, which means it's going to be a lot faster to charge the iPhone, with the wired connection going up to 40 watts and the wireless connection, aka MagSafe, going to 20 watts. Now, the main issue why Apple didn't actually try this before on older models is probably because of the heat that gets generated by these split batteries. But in the 16 Pro, some rumors say that they should upgrade the heatsink going from copper to graphene. Okay, so those are the main internal changes that the iPhone 16 Pro will probably get. But let's now get to the external changes, which you are likely to notice when you see the phone firsthand in a store. So the main one, which most people will probably notice, are the brand new colors, or should I say the recycled colors, because this year's iPhone 16 Pro should come in black, white, gray, and a new style of gold. I saw a lot of people, especially on Twitter, making a huge fuss about the brand new gold color because it's the standout color out of this series. But to be honest, I'm more looking forward to the gray color because last year's natural titanium wasn't really it, in my opinion. I know everybody pretty much liked it universally, but when I took a look at it in person, I didn't really get it. I think it looked kind of odd and a little bit to the greenish side. But from the renders and the leaks that I've seen, the gray color looks super good. And I'm really deciding between the white and the gray this year. Now, one surprising change, at least to me, that Apple is supposed to be doing with the 16 Pros is a bigger size of the screens. The 16 Pro is supposed to go from 6.1 inches over to 6.3 inches. And the 16 Pro Max is supposed to go from 6.7 to 6.9 inches, which is like borderline tablet size now, because I remember when I was a little bit younger, I had those what felt like huge Android tablets, and those were like 7.3 inches, and now smartphones are almost getting to the 7s, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about it. And as of every year, the bezels on these screens are supposed to get a little bit smaller. Now, I think the biggest upgrade in terms of the screens is actually going to be the brightness. Apple is rumored to switch the iPhone 16 Pro's OLED displays over to MLA OLED, which stands for Micro Lens Array. And I think one big change that we will see in the entire presentation of the iPhone 16 Pro's launch is that the whole event is not going to be so much focused on the cameras as it was in the last couple of years. Because this year the rumored camera upgrades are quite timid. The ultra-wide is going to get upgraded to a 48 megapixel sensor, which I'm super happy about, by the way, because you no longer have to choose between a quality picture and an ultra-wide picture. Because let's face it, every time you shot an ultra wide, it just lacked a little bit of resolution, so I think this will be a great fix for that. Also, the 16 Pro, the regular sized one, is going to get the 5x optical zoom, which I'm not super happy about because quite frankly I like the 3x zoom and the focal length that it gives you, but I totally get that smartphones nowadays are getting compared with their zoom ability, which you pretty much never use, and I think Apple here is just trying to catch up to the competition. Oh, and last but not least, in the camera department, I'm gonna be buzzing if Apple just makes this small little upgrade to the slow motion video, because there are some rumors floating around that they should upgrade the slow motion video to 3K at 120 FPS. By the way, the current max slow motion video is pretty much unusable because it's only in HD with 120 FPS. So this would be amazingly useful, especially when getting some shots for these review videos and things like this, because you can massively slow down things with this high frame rate. And also, I left the most talked about feature to the very end because probably every single one of you watching this video right now knows about it. Apple is supposed to give the 16 Pros a new capture button. This should live right below the power button and actually enable you to just launch the camera quickly and then take a quick shot, with a couple of abilities like pressing it down to focus or swiping around to zoom. Okay, so those are pretty much all of the rumors about the 16 Pro that I read about on the internet, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And now I have two things that I would love to see in the 16 Pro. And these are really not that important in the great scheme of things, but I would love if they would just make these subtle little changes. First and foremost, I'm going to be buying the 16 Pro this year, and I would love to see if the 16 Pro gets the same treatment as the 15 Pro Max did and start with 256 gigabytes. And Apple will get bonus points for me if they don't change the price at all, which I have a hunch they will actually not change this year. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.